Hey everyone, Stephanie here, coffee drinker, book lover, and reviewer of many things, and today I'm actually drinking coffee. It's just the original Java coffee. I don't think I put enough sugar in it today. Okay, so today I have a book review for you. And I just realized they're underneath my laptop. Oh, sorry guys, I know that was a bubble, blah, blah, blah. It was rumbly. Okay, so I finished the bonus book on the 2025 Preteen Teen Reading Challenge. I also listened to this one. I feel like this is a recurring theme for this this list. It's not going to be. Those two, because I listened to the Wizard's Guide for Defensive Taking, and it came with my Audible subscription, so it was free. Hey, if you do enough of the free subscriptions, it's being paid for. Anyway, so this is a Charmed Life. A Charmed Life? It is the first book in the Christomancy series, or the Worlds of Christomancy. Christomancy? Yeah, that's how you say it. Okay, and it's by, I'm probably gonna say the middle name wrong, Diana Wynne Jones, and she also is the author of Howl's Moving Castle, which we have also. Which we have also. Put that back. Yeah. So I think in my last video I said that Polly and Buster's the Polly and Buster book was gonna be my next video. I decided to specifically read this one with my kid, or that one with my kid. It might be a video or two before I get to it, because we're reading like 2-3 chapters a day. Anyway, so A Charmed Life was okay. I didn't put it in this book because I only have 40 spaces, and I'm trying to pick and choose what I'm gonna add to that. So this one, I'm just like, because I'm gonna listen to the rest of the series. Okay, I gave it like 4 stars. If it's middle grade, junior high book is what I'm gonna say. And this book is labeled a comedy, fantasy, fiction, funny, heartfelt, humorous, magic users, primary education. There's no L there. Romance. Maybe in the later series. And young adult. So I'm gonna go ahead and read it's a small synopsis or a summary, and then I'm gonna talk about the book just a little bit. I'm gonna move these. Okay. And of course, the picture should be here, so you know what I'm talking about. Alright. This is A Charmed Life, the first book in the Worlds of Christomancy. It's spelled weird, okay, guys? Cat doesn't mind living in the shadow of his sister, Gwendolyn, the most promising young witch ever seen on Coven Street. But trouble starts brewing the moment the 2 orphans are summoned to live in Christomancy's castle. Frustrated that the witches of the castle refuse to acknowledge her talent, Gwendolyn conjures up a scheme that could throw the whole worlds out of whack. that is all the summary says. So pretty much everything else I tell you is probably spoiler. This book was read by Gerald Doyle. This book has a 4.5 star rating on Audible. And anything else I need to tell you? No, that's it. So everything else I tell you is probably a spoiler. When this book starts, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, they're going through like a state of mourning, and Gwendolyn and Kat are just kind of like, like whatever, but they were part of the accident, and it said that the only reason why Kat survived is because he grabbed onto Gwendolyn, and she's a witch, so she can't drown. Kat's real name is Eric, and we find when they arrive to, oh my gosh, I forgot her name, is it Miss Sharp? When they arrive at the person that's going to end up keeping them's house, I think her name was Miss Sharp, I don't remember. And the town is like, we'll pay, because they were in this big accident and no one else survived. And I can't remember how the parents died, but I think they passed before the kids were sent on this boat. And Miss Sharp, we're just going to keep calling her that because I think that's her name, has known about them or read about them because she knew their parents. Somehow they're related somehow. I can't remember because that was the beginning of the book, and the beginning of the book was kind of just like, here's all this here's all this information, and so yeah. But all I know is the mayor person and his brother are like, we'll pay for normal schooling. We find out really fast that Kat is left-handed, and you are not allowed to write with your left hand, and you would get smacked if you did. And so he would always write really slowly with his with his right hand, and then when the teacher wasn't looking, he would switch and he'd write really fast with his left hand, left hand, and then he'd switch back when the teacher wasn't going to look again. And you find out that he's tried to do magic. He's tried a few spells, and none of them have ever worked, or they like fizzled and didn't do much. But you find out that his sister is amazing, and they use a few of the parents' belongings that was left for them to pay for Gwendolyn to take magic lessons, and she, spoiler, the person who's ends up teaching her magic is a head witch and doesn't teach her any of the consequences, or like, in order to use this spell, you're using this of your soul or whatever, and yeah. So later, they've been trying to figure out who this Christomancy was, because one of the letters that was sent to their dad was like a warning, or it said something along the lines of, I warned you that this would happen, and it's too late, I can't help you now. And so trying to figure out who this person is, they finally, Gwendolyn finally writes to him, but the letter she writes to him is like, Kat's not isn't alive anymore. And so whenever Christomancy shows up to their house, he's like, who are you? And he's like, Cat. Oh, I mean, Eric. And he goes, I got the impression from your sister's letter that you were not with us anymore. And he's like, well, I'm standing here. Little sassy. And he had just gotten back from, I don't remember what they call it, but it's like, it's stealing. But it's stealing, like, the things that are more abundant in someone's, like, the apples from the apple tree, or, you know, stuff like that. They call it, even the mayor has a name, like, calls it whatever their name for it is. And, the mayor's just like, oh, it's all good fun. And when when Eric, he's like, what do you have there? And Eric dumps all of the apples out onto the table because his Miss Sharp is gonna make something with it. And he goes, oh, I just went, whatever they call it, and got these apples. And Christmas goes, that's stealing. And he goes, oh, I'm sure you did it as a kid too. And Christmas is like, So he ends up taking them in. I don't know if it's considered adopting, but he ends up taking them in. And along the, once they get there, and they're not treated like royalty, because it's a castle that they're going to. And so Gwendolyn thinks that she is a princess now because somebody, the seer person that lives down the street, told her that she was going to rule. She was going to be a ruler. And so whenever she got there, and she wasn't treated like a princess, and then found out that there's already a girl and boy who lives there who are Christomancy's kids. And she's just like, she's very spoiled brat is what comes to mind. Okay. She just needs a good spanking. And later she does get it. But because she doesn't know the consequences of spells, and the castle is, I want to say it's bewitched, or it's spelled, or something. So, like, words don't travel as far, and probably for a good reason. You have a house full of wizards and witches. But words don't travel as far, and the mirrors are in the kids' room are spelled so that Christomancy can see what they're doing. Probably it sounds bad, but it's probably for the best, because if he didn't have the spell up, then he wouldn't be able to undo, or they wouldn't be able to undo half of the stuff that Gwendolyn did. She starts just wreaking havoc, and there's a buzz. Sorry. And one of the first things they're told is you're only allowed to do magic because y'all are students. You're only allowed to do magic if the magic teacher is around. And Gwendolyn's like, no, I am not, because he's teaching not elementary, but like the basics of magic so that you know the consequences. And she's like, I already know how to do that, She's mean. And on their first day of class, she's already, like, bullied Christomancy's daughter. And then when they get to class, she uses magic to empty her inkwell on the back of the teacher's robes. And it's just like, do you want to be known like this? Anyway, so finally she takes it a step too far, and Christomancy has Michael, the teacher, actually, I think he just teaches everything, but the magic teacher, he has him spank her. And he's like, oh, thank goodness, I've been wanting to do this. Oh, and so he takes off his shoe and he starts, he puts her over his knee and he spanks her a few times. And then they take her magic away, like temporarily, obviously, but they take her magic away so that she can't do any more harmful stuff, because one of the last spells, and we don't know this until later because it comes back around, one of the last spells she did takes one of her brother's lives. So Cat always thought that the way he got the nickname Cat was because his sister said that he was lucky, and like there was a joke behind it. Oh, you must have 9 lives. But he did. He did. And we find out that she's been using his magic, for one, which is why his magic doesn't work when he tries to do magic. And when he was born, he almost died, and so that was a life. And then whenever they were on the boat, he almost drowned, but he did die in birth, but then he came back, and he did die from whenever the boat went down. But he comes back to life when he dies. He says that he remembers a time that he had cramps really bad and was really sick. And so we can assume that he died then. And I can't remember what his sister used one of his lives to turn his violin into a cat. Because he was taking violin lessons. It had been long enough for him to be good, so it was pretty bad. Everyone hated that he was taking violin lessons. And then she did a spell. That's what it was. She did a spell that created these apparitions, and they were pretty, like, you couldn't tell who they were, but when Cat thinks back about it, he's like, were those me? Were those my ghosts? Like, and it's kind of, and she has some kind of control over Cat, and he doesn't realize it. Like, everyone else starts to realize it. Like, the other 2 kids, they comment on it, how he's like her slave, because she'll be like, Cat, do this, and he's like, okay, and he'll do it. And he says, oh, well, she's my sister, I gotta take care of her. And they're like, some of the stuff that she's telling you to do. And then he even gets in trouble because of her, because she does something while he's standing there, and Christomancy, it's called boxing the ears, and he's like, why am I getting in trouble? Because you didn't try to stop her. You want to take care of your sister, you gotta be able to stop her. Like, so it gets, after she gets her powers taken away, she uses one more of the matches. That's what holds his life. Holds Cat's life in Matchbox. It had 9 matches to start with. So she uses one to go to a different world, and in order to go to a different world, another, like, someone super similar to her has to be put in her place. So everyone shifts. And, well, the girl who ends up in her place here with Cat, her name is Janet. She comes from a world that doesn't have magic. They have airplanes and real cars, and girls wear pants. And so at first, when Cat walks in, because their morning routine is he comes down from his room and goes into Gwendolyn's room, and he's like, hey, and she's like, who are you? Because he just walks into her room, and he's like, Oh, I guess whenever they took your magic, they took your memory. Well, I'm your brother, and like, it's just the first thing that popped. He's like, that makes sense. Okay, well, let's start from scratch. And he starts explaining who he is, and she's like, oh, yeah, okay. And then he gets closer, and he's like, this girl's hair is longer by about an inch. And he starts like seeing her, and he's like, why is your nightgown on backwards? And she goes, oh, is it? Oh, I didn't even notice. And he's like, why don't you tell me what happened last night? And she's like, I don't know. I woke up in the bath. It was cold. I had no clothes on. So this is the first thing I put on. And he goes, oh, you're not Gwendolyn. And she's like, of course I'm not. I'm Jane. And he goes, oh no, what did she do? But as soon as Gwendolyn leaves, his powers start coming forward. And because he's the only few times that he's tried magic, there's like just nothing happens or it fizzles. He doesn't think he has any magic. So, they're about to be caught by the maid, and he's like, she should have turned her into a frog, or, he freaks out, and he is the one that turns this lady into a frog, and she gets so mad. And he thinks it's one of Gwendolyn's last spells. She must have cursed the door or something. And so they try to hide it. And, well, that doesn't work. And when when the maid that's been turned into a frog is found, it's brought to the, attention of everyone in the house. And so several people try to change her back, and it doesn't work. And they're like, Gwendolyn, what spell did you use to do this? Because that's how you reverse the spell. And she's like, I didn't do it. I could. And Christmas is like, she couldn't have done it. She doesn't have magic. And everyone's like, oh. And he's like, I did it. And he didn't realize that he did it until he goes over, and, Michael, the teacher, has him come over and puts it, he's like, just put your hand on it and undo what you did. And he's like, but I don't remember what I did. He's like, just focus. And all he says is, don't be a frog anymore, be your normal self, and back to a person. Hysterical, of course. And, they're dismissed for lunch or whatever, and he's like, Jane's like, you have magic. And he goes, no, I don't. Michael must have done that to make me feel bad or whatever. He's like, no, I don't have magic, because he's never had magic before. And you find out that Gwendolyn left a huge mess before she left. She had, you find out that the papers that she was using to pay for her magic lessons back when they lived with Mrs. Sharp, they were not of use to the people who she gave them to. So now they want to be paid. And then she paid for some dried dragon's blood, using earrings that were her mother's that had a spell on them that sang who they belonged to. And of course, she probably didn't know that, but still, you're giving away your mother, the only possession you have of your mother's. And then, because Gwendolyn left and Cat was freaking out, and it was the first time he'd ever used magic, he turned the maid into a frog, and whenever she goes to her fiance or husband or whoever she's with, and he comes and he threatens Cat And he's like, he throws this blob of dough or clay down, and he's like, show up on Sunday at 3 o'clock, and I'm gonna show you what I can do as a tiger. I'm sorry, sir, you're threatening a child. Slow down. And later, when everything comes out, the maid is like, turns back and looks at, I think his name is William, which is her guy, and she's like, and he's like, I didn't know that he didn't know what he was doing. And then, I can't remember his name, but the hedge witch teacher that Gwendolyn had when they lived with Miss Sharp, he shows up and he's like, Cat, you're gonna go into this secret garden, which is hard to get into and out of, you find out later. And you're gonna, we just need someone pure of heart. You gotta have some, dragon blood, and you gotta walk in there, and then the curse will be undone, and we can all get in and, do something nefarious. And, that's dangerous. Dragon's blood is a dangerous thing to have, and, it can kill someone who doesn't have magic. You find out that if Cat didn't have his magic ability, he probably would have used one of his lives just to carry, like if the dust touched him. And so you also find out that if you say Christomancy's name, I don't know if you have to say it a certain amount of times or what, but he shows up. So, like, that's how you summon him. So it was just the whole thing. So the beginning of the book starts a little slow, and you kind of have to get through a lot of, they have to build the world for you and all that stuff. And then the end of the book is just like, oh my goodness, what is going on? Or the middle of the book is like, oh my goodness, what is going on? This girl just is terrible. And then when she leaves, you're like, oh, she's been using his magic the whole time, I bet. And then you find out it's true. And then Christomancy's not such a bad guy, and you find out that Cat is sort of gonna be the next Christomancy. I'm not sure how that works. I just know that that's Michael says, so you found us the next Christomancy, I see. And he's like, yeah, and your lessons with him are over because the way we do magic is different from a normal witch or wizard. And so now I have to listen to the next ones. Oh, also, Jane ends up leaving the world so that Gwendolyn can come back because she knows she wants to be involved in this big takedown, which doesn't end up happening. I'm not going to tell you what happens because it's like a lot of stuff happens. But then when Christomancy is like, when Christomancy is punishing everyone that's in trouble, the bad guys, and he steps, oh, there's a baby dragon. There's a baby dragon. It's like a pet dog. Okay, he's spoiled. It's so cute. I want a baby dragon. Anyway, that can talk. I forgot where I was going. So they had to break into Michael's laboratory in the tallest part of the castle. I don't know, on the other side of the building. It's like the opposite of Cat's room, like there. Anyway, so they go in there because he has a thing of dried dragon blood, but then there's an actual dragon, and they have a whole conversation about how the dragon says, how would you like it if I used dried human blood to do something? And Jane said, actually, where I come from, they do. So it's kind of like, it was funny. Yeah. I thought this was a good book, and Christomancy has like this spell going, and there's like air flowing around and like a cloud, and then he steps out and he's like, Cat, can I use some of the dragon's blood? And he goes, how did you know I had it? And he goes, I can smell it. And he's like, oh. And so he hands it over, and he does a spell to take away some powers from some really bad people. And then he stops a few people, or like pulls a few people out of the swirly to talk to Cat. And the last person that, he starts sending people back to where they're supposed to go. Obviously, he can't take away their power, not have them away to get back to their house. Isn't that nice of him? He sends them back home. And so he gets Gwendolyn, and she's like, put me down, and she's freaking out. And he's like, no, you belong here, and you need to apologize to your brother. You need to explain some stuff to him. And she's like, no, and she's like throwing a hissy fit, and he finds out how little his sister ever cared about him, and it really hurts him. And then she does something, she throws her shoe or something, and makes Christomancy like dodge, and she grabs the rest of the the dragon blood powder that he has, and she jumps through a portal, and she locks herself in there. And as she goes in, Jane gets thrown back out, and she's crying, and they think it's because she's back. And so Christomancy is like, oh my gosh, I can fix this eventually. And she's like, no, I'll stay. And he's like, why? It's okay. Like, we can send you back. We can make it work. And she's like, the girl, my replacement, she needs my home. And he's like, what? And Mom and Dad hasn't realized that it's not me. And I had enough time to read the journal. She must have been taken out while she was writing it. And they haven't realized it's her, but she was an orphan, and she's been through so much, and she needs my mom and dad. And he's like, okay, so as long as you're sure you want to be here. And she's like, okay. I was like, and then you find out about, the shift was good for all of the other replacements except for Jane. Jane was the only one that was like, she was happy where she lived, and then she came here, and she's like, I will have to make some adjustments. And she's like messing with the big puffy skirt, because Gwendolyn used to wear two petticoats, and she's like, ew. And everyone is like, yeah, you can change. You don't have to dress like that. And that's kind of how the book, and everyone just sort of, there was a moment where, they were talking gently to Cat, and he yells at them. He's like, I'm not, stop treating me like stop treating me so gentle. Yeah, I'm gonna have to listen to the rest of the series because it was good, and I want to find out what happens. What is the next book called? The next book is called The Magicians of Caprona? I don't know. I'll find out when I read it, when I listen to it. Anyway. Yeah. That is A Charmed Life by Diana Wynne Jones. So that was another book off of my preteen teen reading challenge. I think I'm going to listen to The Lightning Thief by Rick. Oh, I forgot how to say it. I looked at it. Anyway, The Lightning Thief. I think I'm going to listen to that next. I am listening to a bunch of stuff right now because I am prepping out videos because we're going to be moving soon. I want to make sure that I have videos that kind of not be like, no more videos until I have everything set up. And hello again. Because who knows how long until that happens. So I'm trying to make sure I keep some books that I listen to record. And I am reading The Wayward Witch and the Filling Monster. It's over there. Hold on. Get out of my way! I am reading Polly and Buster. This is the first book in a series, I believe. I'm pretty sure this is the first book in a series. The Wayward Witch and the Filling Monster. We're almost done with this, so this will probably be a next week video. If you're looking forward to that, yeah. So there's this. I can't listen to any of these. They don't have audio books for these. Oh, this one actually. This is the only one on the list that has. It's on Audible. I found it the other day, and I was really excited. But I'm not gonna use that. I am reading. Whoa! Almost pulled my bookmark out. I forgot it had the tassel. I am reading Cutie Pies and Deadly Lies. I am halfway through with this book. Hopefully next week also. It's on my adult reading challenge, and I am about to start listening. I'm about to drop these. I'm about to start listening to one of the other ebooks on here. I have them all on hold, so hopefully one of them pops up. Watch, they're all gonna pop up at the same time, and then I'm gonna be like, so much to listen to. Yeah. So I have on hold Where the Dark Stands Still, Nothing to See Here, and The Kiss Quotient. Oh, and One True Loves, I believe, all on hold. So we'll see which one comes first. And then I'm also reading Honest June. It's on the preteen teen reading challenge. So if you want to do one of these challenges or all of these challenges with me, I will leave the links for the papers that you can print out, or I think you can save them to your I think you can save them to your Google Docs. Maybe. I know you can print them out. I don't know where else you can go. Anyway, the links for these will be in the description. I will leave the link for ways to buy these books. If you use those links, I do get a few pennies for what you buy. And the book that I listen to, I will leave a way to buy that too in case you just want that one. Because I know sometimes I'll see people doing a video about a book and I'm like, oh, this book sounds so interesting, I'm going to read it or listen to it too. And then I get lazy, and after the video I'm like, I don't feel like going to find it. I'll just put it on my list and maybe later I'll find it. And then I end up with a list that has over 200 books on it of my TBR. So here we are with 3 challenges. That is all I have to talk about. I hope you like this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Comment below if you've listened to or read A Charmed Life by Diana Wynne Jones. I'm not looking at my paper anymore, so. And did you like this book? What did you think of it? If you've read it, and are you going to be doing any of these challenges, let me know. there's still time. It's still January. There is something in my eye. I'm like, subscribe if you want to subscribe. If you're not sure if you want to subscribe, you can click my face bubble. It'll be a circle down here, and it'll take you to my channel, and you can go check out my other videos. I mainly do book reviews because I got tired of seeing people be like, this book is 5 stars, and then I read it and I was like, this book is not 5 stars. And share this video. That's right, share this video because sharing is caring, and someone else might want to do one of my challenges, or they want to know about this book, or they need to know about this book. This is a really good book. That's all I have to talk about, and I hope you come back and watch my next video. Bye!